Final Fantasy 16's selling point is the icons and the explosive boss battles they offer, and oh my god do they deliver on that promise. One of them is the most epic boss fight I've seen since Jubileus the Creator in Bayonetta 1. Of the 8 icons presented in the game, 7 of them feature epic boss battles that feel like they were ripped straight from a shonen anime's final fight, where each fighter goes beyond their limits and absolutely explodes with the pure distilled rage of their respective element. Except for one, Shiva. She's been featured heavily in the marketing for the game, albeit with the same shot of her facing off against Titan, and I'm sorry to say that her most important and epic moment comes in the first 15 minutes of the game. Now, let me stop you right there. I am absolutely not talking about Jill. She is probably the best character in the game outside of Dion. She represents the good that Clive could have when he achieves his goals. She represents an ideal life for him, where dominants can live on their own terms, and the world he's fighting for isn't one where he has to live alone. She is the light not only to Clive, but the game as a whole. With Final Fantasy XVI's new oppressive tone, it needs a cinnamon bun to lighten the mood, and that's the purpose Jill fills. But the story treats her as a love interest and companion above all else when she's supposed to be one of the 8 strongest people in the world. Shiva in previous games is treated as the secondary main summon after Ifrit, as she's usually the second one acquired. 16 clearly agrees with this philosophy, as Shiva's dominant is the secondary character, so why does Shiva herself play 8th fiddle to Garuda of all icons? Shiva and Ramuh are the only icons not to be featured in a boss fight as either opponent or ally. With Ramuh, this is understandable for spoiler reasons, but for Shiva it's flat out ridiculous, especially when there's the perfect quest for Shiva and Ifrit to team up in a fight, one with substantial narrative weight to Jill and her status as a dominant. When facing her father and the boss fight of the Iron Islands, the Liquid Flame, Shiva appears simply to freeze an arena for Clive to take it down. She's not even participating in a fight critical to her character development. Shiva just feels like she's missing for most of the game, and we take far too long to acquire her abilities in Clive's arsenal. I won't spoil it because it's very late in the game, but you barely have her powers for one quest before you acquire the final and potentially most fun icon in the whole game. Shiva would have been more useful to Clive, as Jill seems so averse to using her throughout most of the story. Shiva is arguably the second or third most popular summon in the whole franchise, so why is Final Fantasy XVI treating her with such disrespect, especially when her dominant Jill gets so many chances to shine and make such a massive impact on the story? Why do her powers not get that same reverence? I don't consider the tutorial boss fight against Jill Shiva's moment, because she's only half primed, and it feels very much like an early game boss to ease players into the hectic chaos of later bosses. Final Fantasy XVI's icons are an absolute spectacle. Witnessing their journey from sprites in Final Fantasy III to gorgeous beasts of destruction is truly a sight to behold. I wish all these legendary monsters got their moment to shine, and most of them do, but Shiva, one of the most recognizable summons in history, simply doesn't. I hoped that Final Fantasy would show us the true power and beauty of unleashed ice, but sadly, we're left with cold feet.